Okay, we're good.
I'll give you the 2-minute warning. You have to keep it right at time.
Okay. Okay, I'm Christine, and I'm going to be talking about pseudobulbar palsy. We're going to meet our friend Charles. We'll call him Chuck. He is a 47-year-old male who is married. He doesn't have any children. He's a general contractor, and he has no family history of any sort of neurological disease that he knows of. He first visited his doctor just about a month ago, so this is all very new for him. He was noticing a little bit of speech difficulty, just having to think about speaking more than normal. Like, we take advantage of it so easily every day. He also had some periodic facial muscle spasms, and then just since the new year, he had 2 instances where he had some uncontrollable emotion, which really caught his general practitioner right away that he needed to be referred to a neurologist. So he was, and he was diagnosed with ALS with pseudobulbar palsy on April 1st and prescribed riluzole, which is to slow the progression of the degeneration of the motor neurons. I know we learned about ALS with Leslie last week. Pseudobulbar palsy is almost always secondary to another disease, which is either affecting the demyelination or the bilateral corticobulbar lesions. So it's not something that really necessarily ever exists by itself. It is with one of these other things. And as with most of the other neurological things we've been talking about, there's no cure. Once it's happening, sadly. Specifically, pseudobulbar palsy is an impairment of the upper motor neurons that transmit signals to lower motor neurons in the brainstem relative to the bulbar palsy, which is just affecting your lower motor neurons. So just this picture, you can see upper motor neurons. It's happening up here and sending all the way down through your pyramidal tract. We've said that a million times. Pyramidal. So yeah, it's bilateral degeneration of the corticobulbar pathways in the pyramidal tract. So you lose control of muscles that are innervated by these lower cranial nerves, which, as you can see, 5, 7, 10, 11, 12, they're all nerves that we've been studying. So you're going to progressively digress in your ability to speak, chew, swallow, control facial expressions. Specifically to pseudobulbar palsy, it's related to the spasticity of muscles rather than any sort of atrophy, so you're getting a lot more spasticity. Your gag reflex is increased, and then the possible outbursts of laughing or crying is referred to as pseudobulbar effect, which is something that we saw in Chuck right away, unfortunately. So when he came to see me, I just really wanted to get kind of a starting point where we were, knowing where we're going to be going. I just kind of wanted to see where we would start. So I did just kind of really basic. I had him read a rainbow passage, and then just talking to him in conversation, I noticed that he had a strained vocal quality as well as some sporadic intonation patterns, like spasmodic dysphonia kind of feeling. I also did the speech intelligibility test, which is a computer generates 11 sentences, which are each progressively longer by 1 word, starting at 5, continuing to 15. Chuck says these sentences, and it's recorded by the computer and timed for words per minute, and then transcribed by an objective listener who was objective, meaning a stranger to Chuck, who's not used to listening to him talk. He scored 160 words per minute, which is definitely below norm, and a 94% intelligibility rate, so still we can understand him. It's still the very beginning of this whole situation, so we're doing okay, but it's important to catch it early. So yeah. As far as swallow goes, I just wanted him to do a volitional swallow, followed by a vocal odd. Just kind of touched his thyroid cartilage to get a feel of the laryngeal elevation. Observe the vocal quality after swallow. If you can swallow and then have a dry sounding ah afterward, that means there's no aspiration. And if it feels a little wet, that means that there is an aspiration. And then just observing for coughing, gagging, regurgitation, anything else that comes with swallowing. Did some range of motion exercises, and instead of kind of talking about it, I can go, oh, how do I get that link?
Come up. Oh, that's right. You have to click that. And then it should come up. I checked it.
Okay. It's just I don't see my cursor. I need to get out of it first? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. I can find it though.
Sorry.
No, you're good. As long as you don't cut me off.
I'm gonna cut you off though, because we'll be out of time, so.
Okay, well then I'm not gonna show it.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Great. So we just did tongue range of motion, protrusion, depression, tongue lift, ta, ka, pa, maintaining labial closure with adequate breath support, figuring that out. Oh wait, I'm gonna get this figure. F5?
F5.
Perfect.
There we go.
Okay. He has an intelligible paw, but he said that he was a little fatigued just after 5 repetitions, so something going on a little bit there. He has normal laryngeal elevation. He did get a little bit of an activated gag reflex with his volitional swallow, but he had a dry off, so no aspiration. So we're still doing okay. Below normal range of motion for is his tongue and kind of just weak muscle strength. It's great because he is able to just tell me still, like, I can tell that I can't move my tongue more like than I used to be. So that's still great where he's really open to talking about it and really self-aware, which is super important, I think. His treatment plan, really, we don't want to make his muscles any more tired than they need to be. So working on oral motor exercises has not really been found to be what you should do. Really, we should look at compensatory strategies to avoid the muscle fatigue and lots of education just to let him know what's going to happen. Sad but true. So just slowing the rate of speech, we looked at some supplementation interventions, alphabet, topic, and gesture. Alphabet being saying like over, enunciating the first, you get it, right? That's what that is, just for added contextual support and slowing speech again. I also want to just discuss and educate future communication decline and let them know that counseling is available, for sure. And then discuss AAC devices. He's a gadget guy, so that's good. That's one less hurdle we have to jump over. He's into like iPad, iPod, software kind of stuff. So that's good. So we can use that. He's not excited about it, but he's, I don't know, more excited than, say, someone who wasn't familiar with any of the technology. And then we talked about voice banking as well. And then also just discussing the normality of the PDA, the crying or laughing uncontrollably at times. That happens with pseudobulbar. It's not yet a problem for him to swallow, but again, I just wanted to talk about initial symptoms, when he should follow up with me, what he should look for. I'm not going to go through all those, you can read. Just as a preventative measure, taught him the chin tuck swallow. Taught them about the importance of oral hygiene for sure, because once you lose motion in your tongue and you can't control your tongue, you can't like swipe around your lips, you know, and clean things out. So it's really important to keep up with your oral hygiene. And then again, like I mentioned before, just being really self-aware and communicative about the progression of his disease. Factors, just his attitude towards the cognitive decline. It's fairly quick when you add pseudobulbar palsy compared to just ALS with just bulbar symptoms without the pseudobulbar. I want to see him every month, considering it's a quick progression. I also want to get information about AAC devices and his insurance coverage practice. I want him to practice the alphabet supplementation when he feels like he needs to, and also be aware of communication environments. Like, you can change your environment if you have a really important thing to say. And then as far as swallowing, and just be cautious. Take smaller bites and do what you need to do to be as happy as you can for as long as you can, really, is what it comes down to.